just when you thought you had seen it all, you see it all over again. Transformers 3, The Last Night, starring Mark Wahlberg, Anthony Hopkins, Josh Duhamel, and Laura Haddock. Decepticons and Autobots alike are all being hunted down by the dozens. Optimus Prime has disappeared, and Mark Wahlberg is back to keep a franchise afloat. Transformers is too long. It's overloaded with characters that are used more as a plot device than anything, and because of that, they get lost in the story and you forget all about them when they show back up, and you have to rack your memory and figure out who those people are. I didn't buy into the fact that Earth was in danger until maybe the last act of this film. And I say that because one minute we see destruction everywhere, the next it's as peaceful as can be. The Knights of the Round Table storyline was probably the most interesting part of the film, period. And I don't think it was focused on enough. It did enough to keep me interested in the movie and wanting to know more, but it barely scraped by. It dropped more information out there almost before it was too late. And that just had to do with the fact that there was so much going on. Everything in this film needed to be condensed. It needed to just be refined. It was just Transformer vomit all over the screen. Anthony Hopkins' character had a lot of ties with the Knights of the Round Table and the deep history of the Transformers and all of that, kind of like protectors of the knowledge of the Transformers. Anthony Hopkins did a fantastic job, as he usually does. Now here's where it gets a little weird. He had this protector bot Transformer type thing that looked a lot like C-3PO, and they even kind of rag on him for looking like C-3PO in the film, which was right after the fact that Mark Wahlberg and his gang had been hunted down by a fleet of drones that looked exactly like TIE fighters. There's so many original things that happen in this movie, like stealing from Star Wars. Now also through the Knights of the Round Table storyline, we learn that Laura Haddock's character is tied into that. We're introduced to her in probably the first 10 to 15 minutes of the film, and then we don't see her at all until the end of the second act, and you're like, wait, who is this chick? She looks just like Megan Fox. Seriously, when I watched the trailer, I was like, why is Megan Fox in this movie? Michael Bay, you could have cast somebody that didn't look like Megan Fox. Not knocking on you, Laura, you did a good job. I liked your performance, and your chemistry with Mark, on point. I mean, how could it not be? It's Mark Wahlberg. But for real though, am I the only one that got confused thinking that that was Megan Fox? Now, one of the things that really bothered me is that we get a history of Bumblebee, and we learn that he had really close ties with the military in World War II, and he was just this merciless Autobot. But after learning all of that stuff, Optimus Prime shows back up. He's kind of like brainwashed, and Mark Wahlberg tells Bumblebee that he needs to bring back that bad butt version of himself and set Optimus straight and get him back, and we see none of that. Like, there were some intense moments, but Optimus Prime pins Bumblebee down, and it's in that moment we finally hear Bumblebee's real voice, but only one sentence, and then we never hear it again the rest of the movie. Never again. So has Bumblebee decided to go mute because of all of that? Is that what it is? If that's the case, why did we try this whole like voice box thing earlier in the film? I think they were trying to go somewhere with that and they completely failed. Yeah, it was a misdirection. I don't know. It was just whatever. Moving on. So Optimus Prime is pulled out of this whole brainwashing thing, and he gives this completely deflated, anticlimactic speech like he does in every other stinking film. And then there's this really long fight that makes this movie 30 to 40 minutes too long. And I was so ready to go. I was so ready to get up out of my seat, and I was like, I can't walk, I have to finish it. I made it this far. We get it, Optimus Prime, you have a cool voice, but you don't have good dialogue. But for real though, all of this could have been wrapped up 30 to 40 minutes sooner, and it would have been a much better film. That, and just condensing and just trimming all the fat in this movie. I mean, the list of issues could go on, and I'm being hard on these films because they're all mediocre. None of them are as amazing as they should be. And the first one was absolutely amazing when it first came out. But from then on out, they just kind of kept going downhill. This movie is probably third in the franchise in my opinion as far as the lineup goes. We've got 1, we've got 4, and then we've got 5. That's kind of how I feel about it. I didn't like 2 or 3. Don't really remember 3 at all. Only remember 2 because of the gangster bots that were in it. And we know all the controversy on that, don't we? But yeah, it didn't hurt my eyes to watch the transformations. I understood what was happening on the screen, unlike the majority of the films. There was just too much story, and like the others, it was just too long. I'm gonna give Transformers a 6 out of 10. So yeah, there are my thoughts on Transformers 3 The Last Night. What did you think? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you love it? Let me know in the comments below and tell me why you loved this movie or didn't. If you liked this video, hit that like button. If you're local to the Asheville, North Carolina area, be sure to head on over to the828.com. Why? Because that's where the locals go. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you like this content and you don't want to miss a single review I do, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to see my last review, which was for Cars 3, you can click right there. And you guys have a fantastic day.